Hey guys, you clicked that link today, you're looking at the 6 steps to moving to the Colorado Springs. Are some of the top things you need to look at when you're moving here. So make sure you stay to the end. The last one is a great one because I think it's going to open up a lot of possibilities, especially if you have a family. Stay tuned. What's up, everybody? My name is James Dean with James Dean Mountain Real Estate and Keller Williams Client's Choice, and I'm one of your top agents here in the Colorado Springs area. If this is your first time to my channel, make sure you scroll down and click that link to subscribe to it. Hit that bell also, so that way you get notified anytime I have a new video come up. I got new videos coming up every week, and honestly, I got so many people calling me on a daily basis that are looking to relocate here to the Colorado Springs area, and I absolutely love it. I want to be your real estate expert out here in the Colorado Springs area, so please give me a call, 719-304-9772. Shoot me an email at james.dean@kw.com or send that carrier pigeon on the way out. I really want to help you. I've got your back when you're moving here to the Colorado Springs area, and I hope you enjoy these videos. So here I am at the beautiful Garden of Gods Park. What better place to sit here and discuss the number one, or the 6 things you've got to know about moving to Colorado Springs. First of all, if you haven't been to this iconic area, it's definitely a place that you want to see while you're in Colorado Springs and you're visiting the area and you're trying to figure out where you want to live. Or if you've already lived here and you haven't been here yet, you got to get here. This is one of the most iconic areas that we have within Colorado Springs. It's just a gorgeous area to be in. So the first thing you want to think about when moving to Colorado Springs is knowing your price point. So there's all different types of areas, different types of price points, just like in every city within the United States. But knowing your price point up front is going to help you structure how you're actually going to go out and search for the home that you want as well. Because certain neighborhoods are going to be priced, $800,000 to $1.2, 1.3 million. You have other ones that are down in the 400s. Some other homes a little bit further to the south and out east are going to be in the 300s or so. But those are things that you want to actually look for and watch out for also, and to think about. So as you go through your process of trying to figure out where you want to live in the Colorado Springs, the first thing you want to think about is what that price point is, because it's easy to kind of let that stuff get past you and not be able to structure yourself with that as well. Okay, so price point's also going to set you up in an area that you're going to be able to actually utilize your greatest assets to be able to get to the place that you need to be financially and where your family is going to be most happy as well. And I can help you get to that. The second thing you want to think about when you're looking at buying out here in Colorado Springs is whether or not you want to live, out in the plains or up closer to the mountains, or maybe somewhere in between. So those are going to provide a lot of different dynamics on age of home, as well as different things we're going to have more challenge-wise if you're up towards the terrain or out towards the plains, and also views. You'll have different types of views. So for me personally, I like living up closer to the mountains. I like the Mountain Shadows, Rock Rimmon, and Kissing Campbell neighborhoods. Just those are beautiful neighborhoods, as well as the Broadmoor Bluffs area, because you're still getting that feel of being in the mountains, but still having the benefit of being down close to the Colorado Springs area with all the amenities that it offers as well. So that's something else that's pretty big that you want to think about. It'll also have differences in the way the weather kind of kicks off around here too. You'll get a little bit more of the violent thunderstorms a little bit further out to the east than you will up towards the west. And a lot of things that folks do is they pick their places based on where their family's going to spend most of their time. There's even those, like I was a soldier at one point in Fort Carson. I didn't want to live anywhere near where I had to work, so I decided to live up in Teller County. At that point, there's a lot of soldiers that do the same thing. They decide they don't want to live down in the Fountain area or the southern Colorado area, so they'll look at stuff more towards the north, just to kind of separate their work life and family life, so that they can actually be out and feel like they're away from work when they're actually from work. So number 2 is figuring out, do you want to be close to the mountains, mainly on the west side of Colorado, of I-25, or do you want to be on the east side? And the further east you go, the further out towards the plains. The great thing is you can still get good views from any one of those areas. It's just a matter of what you as a family want to do, or you as a person want to do when you're looking to buy your next house, and figuring out exactly what's going to work best for all involved. The third thing to think about moving to Colorado Springs, and this isn't generic to Colorado Springs, it's generic to anything. what age of home are you looking for? Do you want a home that might be in a beautiful neighborhood that's very well kept and it's also very mature with trees but has older homes, so the home might need more upgrades? Or do you want something that's newer and easier to move into, where you're going to have those upgrades already taken care of, and you're probably going to end up being a little bit further away from the downtown Colorado Springs area? Now, there are areas that you can get a newer build or a newer home that are closer to that downtown Colorado Springs area, but for the most part, those newer homes are going to be to the north and east of Colorado Springs. There are some a little bit to the south and east, but not many are getting built out there. The majority of the new neighborhoods are all going to be out to the north and east, and you'll see that as we start going through, the house hunt for you and figuring out what you want. Now, some stuff to remember is, number one, large trees don't grow very quickly anywhere. They grow even slower here in Colorado. So if you want something that's got those large mature trees, then you probably want to think of getting a little bit older of a home that's in a more established neighborhood that's going to be able to provide that for you. And there's great neighborhoods in all price ranges that's actually going to be able to satisfy that for you. But you knowing what you're going to use best out here, you also get the tightness, of the energy efficiency of a newer home that you're not necessarily going to have in an old home. Those are things too that lots of folks want, something that's going to hold that warm air in the wintertime, and it's going to hold that cool air in and keep the warm air out in the summertime. So also things to think about as well. And a lot of your older homes sometimes don't have the AC units, but quite a few of them have had those installed. So just things to think about too. Just because a home is older or it's in an older neighborhood, and I'm talking 70s, 80s time frame, you can find some wonderful places to live that have beautiful upgrades that are right there where you want to be, and it's just in an older style home. So it might not have that great open concept that you're looking for, that a newer home's more likely to have, but it does have that potential to build that into it. Or it might be a compromise you're thinking about, like, hey, I would love to have an open concept, but I would prefer to be closer towards the mountains. So I want to be up in that area that might have a little bit more traditional and older style home, but also have the ability to be close to the mountains and have that. So that's number 3. Do you want new or old or somewhere in between? Because we've got pretty much everything out here. You've got your choice based on that as well. The number 4 that you want to think about is the growth of Colorado Springs. And I say that because there's some homes or there's some neighborhoods that are out in Falcon, Peyton area that have these beautiful homes that are much more affordable but a lot larger, and they're out east, so you're not going to have quite as much terrain. But these places, the way Colorado Springs is growing north and east right now, it won't be long until those literally become attached and there's nothing in between on those. So that might be a good investment thought process, looking at something out in those areas. You're going to get a lot more bang for your buck on the size of home and the newness of the home, as opposed to getting further towards the west or to the south, where you might end up not being able to get that same bang for your buck. So the Colorado Springs area is growing rapidly, and a lot of that's because folks from Denver are coming down to the Colorado Springs area because they realize that the median home price up in Denver, being at $750, is much higher than the median down here in Colorado Springs, right around $450, $500, at what you're looking for. So those differences right then and there are driving folks south, which is also bridging that gap between Denver and Colorado Springs. Now, there's still some substantial amount of land that's in between the Monument, Castle Rock area, Larkspur, when you start getting into those areas, but it is rapidly filling. And those are areas that a lot of folks look at to be in that in-between, so they can still access Denver and Colorado Springs the way that, on both sides if they need to. So depending on what your job requirements or your needs of daily life are, that might be something you want to think about too, kind of buying in one of those growth areas where it's starting to combine, where you're going to see the price of the homes, continue to go up and continue to dramatically appraise higher. As we get closer and closer to the greater metropolitan area of Colorado Springs and Denver getting closer together to actually melding. So definitely something you want to think about in that aspect. The number 5 thing you want to think about when you're looking at buying in Colorado Springs or moving out here to Colorado Springs is accessibility of the neighborhood you're in. Most folks tend to buy in a neighborhood like northwestern Colorado Springs, Monument, out in the northeastern side, out in the Flying Horse Ranch area or Banning Lewis Ranch, those areas, and they tend to stay in those areas. They don't travel much. Like if somebody's buying up north, they don't typically travel down south. If somebody's buying out east, they don't typically travel west of I-25. They find all the restaurants, the stores, and everything they need within those areas, which is great about Colorado Springs because the way it's spread out and planned, you've got the accessibility of anything that you need right there at your fingertips, very close to your neighborhood. So thinking about where you want to be in a sense of like where's the closest Costco, where's the closest hospital, you don't have to worry about that as much because everything is pretty much segmented within Colorado Springs and spread out in a way so you don't feel as congested and as on top of each other as you do up in Denver, but you still have all the amenities that you would want out there, plus wonderful restaurants that you can eat at, uh, awesome nightlife, great ability to find work in all those different areas too. And maybe that's going to be the thing that actually you utilize to pick where you want to live is based on, you know, where you're working and you want to live close or further away and what kind of commute time you want in that too. Because there are some significant commute times that can build up during the year within the Colorado Springs area if you're not careful. If you're going from the southeast side of Colorado Springs to the northwest side of Colorado Springs or vice versa, you could be looking at a 45-minute to an hour-long commute potentially that you're looking at. So definitely want to think about that. And the last thing you want to consider when buying in Colorado Springs, and this is probably going to be something that helps you out a little bit too, you don't have to be as concerned about your school district. El Paso County and the school districts within El Paso County allow you to choose which home or which school you want your kids to go to. Now, you might not, if you pick a really popular school, you might not be guaranteed that they're going to make it in there immediately. You'll be put on a wait list, but that's something that's a huge benefit to folks. So you don't have to buy based specifically off the school district unless you want to be super close to that school district to actually provide that easy commute for you to get your kids to school or they could take the bus. But if you're willing to actually move your kids, you can actually live wherever you want to within El Paso County area and pick which school district you want your kids to go to based on what their needs are. And that's a tremendous, tremendous benefit that not many cities have, and it's an awesome thing to be able to utilize. So that's definitely one of the top things. If you've got kids down there, you know, you want to think about that. You've got the ability to actually place your kids where you want them to be and to think through and plan that. And that's a huge plus for a lot of folks. So if you don't want to be in school district 20, you want to be in school district 11 or vice versa, you can actually utilize that. And that's an awesome, awesome tool to have for your kids. Because, I mean, other than that, you've got private schools that allow you to do that. Not a whole lot of public school areas allow you to do that with the charter system. So that's something that's wonderful as well, so that you can make sure your kids are in the best possible educational environment that you can provide for them. So definitely something you want to think about. So I hope you guys enjoyed listening to this this portion of, you know, the 6 reasons or 6 things you want to think about moving to Colorado Springs. Once again, my name is James Dean with James E. Mountain Real Estate and Keller Williams Client's Choice. Don't forget to send that carrier pigeon out or give me a call, 719-304-9772. I am one of the top agents out here in the area, and I would love to help you on your move to Colorado Springs. And just remember, I've got your back. I'm a local agent. I know the area. I love the area, and I would love to help you in that transition.